It is Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. Welcome to another edition of Baseball Today presented by T-Mobile. And I think I got my favorite John Boy personality here with me today. The one, the only, Love Yas turned McFlurry Power?
Yeah, I went from good to evil. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Dalton Feely, how you doing? Producer Dan also in the background somewhere here as well. Thanks for joining us today, Dalton.
Of course, Trev. Love talking ball with you. A little peek behind the curtain, folks. I'm an emergency spot starter today. Was supposed to be on tomorrow. Things got a little changed. Hopping on last second. It was me. It was Coach Trev talking ball on a Thursday. It doesn't get better than this.
That's all we need. And I remember Dalt you coming along early on John Boy Warehouse with Nikki Cass. Now he's just big time. I'm happy that you've stayed grounded while Nikki Cass has just gone into another stratosphere. Thank you for
That's what I'm here for, Coach.
that. I do love Nikki Cass. I'm just joking about that.
Of course.
But let's start this off like we always do, Dalt, with the tip of the cap. And this one goes, I talked about you being one of my favorites. How about this guy being one of my favorites? Sal Perez last night ends up tying George Brett for the franchise home run total with the Kansas City Royals. Let's take a look.
Use that motion. Salvi hits it high in the air, deep right center field. That ball's gone! 317! Salvador Perez ties George Brett for the most home runs in franchise history.
I mean, I don't know what there is to say. I mean, George Brett is like a vaunted figure in baseball, but especially with the Royals. And here comes Sal Perez, 9-time All-Star, 2015 World Series champ, 5 Silver Sluggers, 5 Gold Gloves. He won the MVP of that World Series. I mean, what more is there to say about Sal other than we love you, man, and congratulations?
He's a statue guy, Trev. Like, how many statue guys do we have currently in baseball? It's a few of guys, and Salvador Perez is definitely one of them, a franchise guy for Kansas City. Tip of the cap. Congratulations, Sal.
Just all around good guy. I actually played golf with his old 2015 World Series teammate, Mike Moustakas, yesterday. And we were talking about Sal and how they used to try to backpick me at third base. Almost every time I got on, they were just messing with me, dude.
They know how fast you were.
No, I mean, I think they just thought how slow I was and they could get me. But I'd always tell Sal, this is a little fun, quick story. I'd always tell when I got to play, I said, Pop, when I get on first base, I'm stealing. And he'd laugh at me because I never did. And then one time, I did.
Yeah?
I just snuck it in there, man. And,
want to know.
After that, he was pissed. He thought it was funny, and then he's like, "You're never doing that again." So, kill me. Speaking of some interesting things happening on the ball field, let's talk about the Yankees and Jose Caballero. Yesterday during the game, if you follow baseball at all, Jose Caballero, a very polarizing type of player. If he's on your team, you love him. If you're playing against him, you probably don't love him. But he's a guy that likes to kind of not manipulate the pitch clock, but use it or not let people use it to their advantage. And yesterday we had a little dust up on the field. Let's check that out.
You picking on me. You picking on me. You picking on me. Look, we had a conversation before the game. They called us before the game. Make sure he's looking up like you. I tell him, you're not making this switch.
I have my thoughts, but Coach, I'm going to actually defer to you and kick to you. You're the former big league guy. Like, I know you didn't play during the pitch clock era, but as a baseball player, a hitter, a guy who's been in the box, like, what are your thoughts about this whole timing and this whole situation with Caballero?
Well, one of the first things I said when this pitch clock came out, when I saw it in spring training, I was like, pitchers are just going to use this to their advantage as best as possible. I'm like, if they come set early on, as Dan's showing at 9 seconds that he was engaged, if they come set early and you're engaged and they can just hold for 15, 20 seconds, that's crazy. I said, that's going to be a very bad product to watch on the field. Now they've had different kind of amendments to the rules, and now the rule is 8 seconds. The batter has to be engaged with the pitcher. Pitcher has to then come set and deliver the ball by the expiration of the clock, essentially. So it'll give you 8 seconds if you're a batter and use it the correct way, I would say. And If I was playing and I felt like pitchers were trying to take advantage of me with the clock, this is exactly what I would have done. Because you can only call timeout one time in at bat. So it's not like if I'm not ready, I can just call time every single pitch. So to me, I don't think Caballero is doing anything that's egregious. It might get under people's skin. You may not like it if you're playing against him, but I don't have that as against the rules whatsoever. And again, you heard the home plate umpire say, well, we got a call from the league and we're not doing that anymore. They told us no warnings, like we're going to start calling you for a pitch clock violation, which, will basically get an extra strike on him. It could end up ending in a bat, put you in the hole like it did yesterday with him. I think it's ridiculous that they called this on him. And especially if you're going to say, hey, like, what does he have to do differently? Does he have to have 1 foot out of the box and then kind of get in at 10 seconds and then make eye contact? Because, what he typically does, he's in the box head down and then puts his head up right around 9 seconds, 8 seconds. And that is within the rules, but they're not liking that right now. So I don't know why they're feeling this way. But to me, I think this was kind of an egregious call on Caballero there.
And I agree with you, Coach, for sure. And I think, going back to when pitch clock was implemented into Major League Baseball, I remember in spring training a couple of years ago, Max Scherzer was someone who's very much playing with the pitch clock as a pitcher, trying to find what's the best strategies. How can I make it get the best advantage while I'm on the mound? Now, fast forward to current date where Jose Caballero on the other side of it as a batter is trying to get as big of an advantage as possible. I'm with you. And especially we heard Quinn Wilcott, home plate umpire, basically say on the hot mic, they got a call from the league saying you're not allowed to do this. Aaron Boone after the game had a quote saying, quote, I've been told very specifically over and over when we've had issues, when I've had my conversations with the league, Caballero has to be alert at 8 seconds. That's making sure Caballero has to be alert with 9 seconds, just making sure he's in. That's very specific what I've been told. And today was something different and they didn't give us a heads up. That's my biggest issue with this, Trev. I think when there's a change like this going into a game, usually the umpires, and maybe I'm wrong, but usually the umpires give both teams a, hey, we were told by the league XYZ, just make sure we follow that because we are going to call it in the game. It sounds like that the Yankees, Caballero and Boone didn't get that heads up. So they thought, it was status quo. Caballero can do what he's been doing for a majority of the year. And it just kind of changed on them. I think Caballero, I think it's a ridiculous call. I do think Caballero should be allowed to because I feel like if I was in the box in this hypothetical situation, I would not want to just be standing there waiting until clock hits 0 for 10 seconds for a pitcher to deal. So I'm with Caballero and the Yankees on this for sure.
I just don't understand what the change in the rule would be then. Is it he has to have eye contact at 10 seconds? Can he not have 2 feet in the box kind of just with his head down? I think if you are going to make some sort of adjustment to the rule, it needs to be pretty specific. Mm-hmm. You can't have vague rules. I know there is a few rules within the rule book basically giving umpires discretion to call whatever they want. And maybe that's what they're referencing here. Like, hey, you're messing with pace of play, pitch clock violation, which to me, again, we need to get a lot more specific here. So I'm Team Caballero here. If you do something within the rules to protect yourself and you're at bat, I have no problem with it at all. I really don't. And I actually think pitchers should manipulate the pitch clock more than they do. They tend to get more in rhythm than kind of doing the pitch clock and holding longer because they can't do it. A lot of guys cannot do that. But my advice to them would be mix up your times as best as possible. 8 seconds all the way down. That 8-second hold is a lot for a hitter. So we'll see how this goes. Excuse me. Another situation actually arose in that game with Garrett Cole. This one we can do quick. Danny, you're going to show the video here. Cole comes set, and around 7 seconds, the pitch clock completely just goes blank throughout the stadium. So he says, wait, hold on 1 second. It's not there. He ends up getting called a balk because he doesn't break the rubber before he breaks his hands. So he does. I mean, it is a balk. Mm-hmm. I thought the umpires were going to get together and say, all right, look, there was a malfunction. Let's just redo it. Instead, they kept the balk. Where are you on this one?
This one's even more inexcusable in my opinion. If there's a malfunction within the pitch clock, Like, this should be a reset, no balk whatsoever, no pitch. Let's, clock's good now. Okay, now we can go. Because Garrett Cole does use the pitch clock when he's pitching. Like you said about mixing up your timing, like Garrett Cole will sometimes go right away. Other times he'll let it sit, gets to one, and then it goes. Like, you don't want a hitter, you don't want a base runner to get comfortable with the clock, right? With the pitcher's rhythm. I think once the clock malfunctions, there should have been a whoa. There's 4 umpires. Someone has to realize that the pitch clock went down, because how are we going to call a pitch clock violation if the clock isn't working? I think that's a big issue. So yeah, Trev, like it was a balk by the rule. His hands disengaged before he disengages with the rubber. That's true. But the reason why it happened was because there was a clock issue. So I think it should have been a no call, redo.
Yeah, and umpires are looking at the clock to make sure the 8 seconds is there, all these things. And there are several clocks throughout stadiums. Again, I will echo your point, and I believe David Cohen was even talking about this. Like, yeah, it was a balk. It was a balk, but, I think it was one that you could have waved off. So a lot of pitch clock stuff going on with the Yankees. They do take 2 out of 3 from the Pittsburgh Pirates. They do get Max Fried back, kind of moving in the right direction, getting a little bit healthier, so that's good for them. But I'm interested to see kind of where, if the league comes out and says something about the Caballero situation and makes some sort of statement, because, hey, if you're using commercials and your Instagram to promote your side of the CBA, surely you can find some time to have some clarity on a rule that is affecting the games happening right now. That's my take here. I'd like to know what you're thinking. That's all.
Yeah, clarity and be specific. That way there's no more issues like this.
Yes. Okay. I like that. Good job there.
Good job, us.
Freaking pitch clock stuff going on. I need to talk to you about something else, though. This episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. Covering baseball every day means July is nonstop. MLB is in full swing, and the NFL schedule is out. It's happening, dog. It's happening. If you want to actually be there for any of it, you need SeatGeek. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. Over 70,000 events across sports, concerts, and festivals. MLB's official ticket marketplace, every baseball ticket fully guaranteed and instantly fulfilled. Green dots mean a good deal. Red means keep looking. We've talked about this before. Jake is not a smart guy. Not book smart, at least. Sometimes he's street savvy. Even he knows how to use this. Green means good. Red means bad. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use code BASEBALL2026 for 10% off your next set of MLB tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any Major League Baseball tickets with promo code BASEBALL2026. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thanks, SeatGeek. What's the expression? Don't cry because it's ended. Smile because it's happened. I think that's the expression, something like that. Let's get some snaps to the Boston Red Sox. They did get to the magic number 15, tying a franchise record for wins in a row. That streak was ended by the Baltimore Orioles later in the evening as they played a little doubleheader ball here. 20-3 since June 25th. I'm going to read some stats off to you, Doug, if you can.
Love it.
The day before this happened, this 23-game set happened, they were 14 games under 500. They were 15 and a half games out of the American East. They were 6 out of the wild card in the AL. Now they're down to 7 games behind the Rays in division, and they have the 3rd wild card spot by 2 games over the Mariners. It can happen that quickly. We just said it was a 23-game turnaround. Just what thoughts on the streak? What do you got? Are you a Red Sox believer?
I feel like we both kind of been Red Sox believers. I believe I picked them to win the World Series a couple years ago. You put them back in the playoffs. World Series 2 years ago, something like that.
So.
Right.
I have been. I have been in the playoffs this year. I think I had them winning the AL East.
Yeah, so we've been believers in the Boston Red Sox, and doubleheaders. Here's me being a nerd, so sorry about this, but entering this year, MLB teams have swept doubleheaders 49% since 2000. So over the last 26 years, this century, So more likely than not, you're going to split a doubleheader. Odds always have been saying 51% you're going to split it. So if the Boston Red Sox swept the doubleheader versus the Baltimore Orioles, who came into this series on their own 7-game winning streak, they were hot in their own right. This would have been even more magical. But yeah, you can't take anything away but how dominant Boston's been. I went since exactly 1 month ago, so we have very similar stats. They're 21-4, Trev. 25 game span, 21-4. They've put themselves from, yeah, they're dead. There's no way that we're going to make the playoffs to, oh, we are the third wild card team right now. We're going to buy instead of sell. I'm impressed with this Boston Red Sox team. This is a team that is being led by an interim manager, their AAA guy now, their major league manager, and Chad Tracy. So this is one heck of a turnaround. And if they can hold and make the postseason, this is going to be up there with the 2019 Washington Nationals story about from the level of turnaround from bad to good.
It's just so, I mean, there's so many things to talk about in this. Before this stretch of games, we said, okay, like the Red Sox have to sell. They got some pieces that people would really love. We've talked about them trading from their outfield depth forever, but now it's like, okay,
Right.
well, shoot, Aroldis Chapman could fetch you a lot. And they have guys like Sonny Gray, like they could have really made out at this deadline. And then Jake and I were talking one day, and we're like, wait a minute, like Breslow can't do that. He's on the hot seat. You can't trade away these guys and just give away this season. So like, okay, so they have to keep the players like for his job's sake. And then all of a sudden they run off this, they're back in it. They become buyers. Like there's no way they sell these guys now. And Craig Breslow goes from one of the most hated people in Boston to now he's in his suite, having a grand old time. He's the king of the city right now. It's crazy how fast this happened. Because there are so many naysayers with this team, and all of a sudden we're back on the train. The ballpark is packed, having a great time, and now they're looking to be buyers. So, do you give me like a guy, if you got two sweet of potential candidates for them to add to this roster?
First off, I just have one last note about that doubleheader. After the game, I thought it was really interesting. Wilson Contreras, Sonny Gray, two guys that were acquired by the Red Sox this previous offseason, kind of had a players meeting, excuse me, maybe not players only, but a players meeting, kind of regrouping the guys like, hey, that's one heck of a streak we're just on. We lost a game. That's baseball. It's time to move on. And that's awesome. I love the regrouping. And interim manager Chad Tracy said, yeah, I was going to address the team, but Wilson and Sonny already handled it. Like everything is just clicking in Boston, it seems like. I love hearing that from their clubhouse. Like two guys just acquired, kind of just taking control, making sure Boston, great streak, keep it going now after the loss. But yeah, Trev, like I think now the clubhouse might have more additions after this streak, from sellers to buyers. As I said, I think the one guy that kind of fits, I hope this team doesn't trade him though, CJ Abrams. And one of my big reasons, I know, middle infield has been a problem for the Boston Red Sox. There's been some injuries. Marcelo Mayer, second base, third base, more second base has been on the IL. Trevor Story as well on the IL. So they're pretty weak in that position so far in that group. But especially in second base, they've been linked to some names during the offseason trying to address it. But they're 27th in FWAR. They're 28th in weighted runs created at the second base position this year. CJ Abrams has been one of the best shortstops this year offensively. He's been one of the big reasons why the Nationals offense has been so electric this season. But we know CJ Abrams' deficiencies, at least how he grades out at shortstop. I think Red Sox, they rank 29th in baseball in home runs. They need some pop. They need some help in the middle infield. Have Abrams play second base. He might grade out better there. Let's hit some freaking balls over the green monster. Why not?
I'm interested to see kind of where they go with the trade deadline. If it's, let's get a rental, let's go get a Luis Ariz because it wouldn't cost as much. Or they're like, hey, like we have this core. Like they have some young controllable starting pitching. They're doing this without Garrett Crochet, who still has time on his contract. So do you say, well, rentals is great because we'll just kind of see where we're at, see what this happens with the CBA? Or are you going to go out and you mentioned second base being a problem? They have gotten basically nothing offensively from their catcher position either. So, when you're looking at that kind of landscape, which we have been because the Yankees have been linked to a bunch of guys. So we've talked about it a ton because they're the Yankees. And now the Dodgers, I don't think the Dodgers really need help. They have Dalton and Will Smith will be back early August. So I think they're going to be okay. But, the guys that are available there that can really make a difference are all like controllable. Talking about Shea Langeliers, you're talking about Hunter Goodman. I don't know if any of those guys are particularly actually available, but they could be pried away for a price. So like, is that where they go, or is it my guy Ryan Jeffers who's a rental? Is that I could see him in a Red Sox uniform. I truly could. I think he would mash at Fenway. I'm very curious to where they go. If I am them, I think I make a play for one of those catchers. I think that to me, I said it a million times on this show and other shows, an offensive catcher is a cheat code. Like, there's not many teams have them. When you have a good one, especially a guy that can handle like the ABS and a veteran that can handle a pitching staff, which I think Jeffers is probably the best example of that, it's a game changer.
I was going to get on your case because you mentioned Goodman, you mentioned Shea. I was like, where's Ryan Jeffers' name, coach? Like, that's someone that's definitely going to be in the trade talks, at least as of right now. But
I flip-flopped on that. I flopped on that because of the Twins draft. They drafted 2 catchers with the first 2 picks. They just paid Von Mackey $9 million in a signing bonus. So there's now all of a sudden we have some catching depth within the organization. I think that's one I love Jeffers. I want him on the team. He's actually like one of the people I love talking to the most about hitting and just in general. Like, we've had a good relationship my entire time calling games there. I'll be sad to see him go. But I think he's the one guy they have to really sit down and think about and possibly move. So yeah, go Red Sox, go. Congratulations. Snaps, way to get back in at Sox. Love that. I mean, this is actually a great segue as we're talking about Boston. This episode's sponsored by Samuel Adams. This summer, America turned 250 years old, and nobody's more ready to raise a glass than the beer named after a founding father himself, Samuel Adams. From the man who helped spark a revolution to the brand that's been brewing independence since 1984, Sam Adams is leading the celebration all summer long. Crack open a summer ale, that crisp, citrusy wheat ale with a bright lemon finish that tastes like the 4th of July in a glass. Or grab the limited edition Star Spangled Variety Pack loaded with summer ale, porch rocker, American Light, and fan favorite blueberry lager. Look for the retro-inspired packaging at a store near you, because this isn't just another summer. It's America's 250th. So join the rally and raise a Sam for the founders, for the flavor, for 250 years of independence. Cheers to 250, America. This Sam's for you. Samuel Adams, the Boston Beer Company, Boston, Massachusetts. SamuelAdams.com. Savor the flavor responsibly. Just what a segue right there. Dan, you set that up perfectly. You knew what you were doing.
Pro.
And now here's a segment that everyone's just going to fast forward through, or at least that's what, Jake always says to me when I talk Twins and my team. The D-backs. A team that I say I can never really put a finger on because they're interesting to me. I feel like there's some real big deficiencies on this team, but they win baseball games, Dalt, especially when you're in the building. Give me the D-backs State of the Union, then I got some follow-up questions after that.
Okay, well, you know what? Uno reverse card, I have a question for you. When we look at the Arizona Diamondbacks roster, and if you're talking to Diamondback fans, what area of the team do you think the D-backs fans would say this is our strongest point right now?
The strongest point?
Lineup, rotation, bullpen. Of those 3, what would you say?
It's got to be the lineup.
And you know what, Trev? It usually has been. And this year, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, it's the bullpen.
Okay.
The bullpen has been.
They have some arms. Good. They do have some arms.
They have some arms, and I'm Paul Sewald had been good. He's been really struggling recently, but outside of that, like, they're 14th in ERA from the bullpen. That's like first in Diamondbacks land, because they're usually 25th, 26th, 27th, 8th, 9th, 30th. Like, they're usually so bad, but they've been so good. Like Ginkel, Murillo, Loizica,
Murillo's fun to watch. I like him.
His stuff is really, really good. But the entire bullpen, Garcia, Clark, Thompson, they're doing it without J-Mart and AJ Puck too. So that's been super impressive. And look, comparing these teams, I actually think this 2026 team at least hasn't really stacked up to the 2024 or 2025 teams in terms of the lineup and rotation. But the bullpen has been so good. I think that's one of the reasons why we're making up some of these wins, because we're not blowing. We, as in the Diamondbacks aren't blowing many late games this year. They've been playing in some chaotic games because, of course, that's what they do. They don't play normal baseball. But for the most part, Trev, this bullpen has kind of calmed the Storms a little bit over the last couple of years. Right now, sitting third in the National League wildcard, the final wildcard spot by half a game. The lineup still good. I actually consider them very raisy. By that I mean like there's like 3 guys at the top of the lineup that's pretty darn good. Even with Perdomo struggles, he still gets on base by a 350 clip. And then the lower half, and Gabby has been fantastic. Lower half, question marks, the rotation. We'll get to it. But yeah.
The rotations, that's the thing that gives me pause. Because you mentioned now they have some good a top heavy lineup, but most teams have a top heavy lineup, dude. That's why they call them, the top of the order. You want to get back to the top of the order because they're the best hitters.
Right.
So I understand that. Some guys that have come up, some of the young guys have shown flashes and they've got some big hits. Ildemar Vargas, obviously the way he started, walk off the other day, love it for him. My guy Max Kepler with some big hits. They can do it at the bottom of the lineup. It's not like it's a dead hole. I don't consider that. There are certain teams where I've seen them play throughout the year and it's like, oh my God, those are outs. I don't necessarily get that vibe for the Diamondbacks. So I do like the lineup. The bullpen has gotten the job done. You said 4 D-back standard. If you pare that thing down during the playoffs and you're running out just 3 or 4 guys, like they have the arm. So I like that. It is the rotation for me. I don't know what they do, where they're going to plan on even getting all of these innings for the rest of the season. Like that, it has to be addressed, or are there guys coming up that can do that for them?
So it's really funny you say that, Trev, because versus the A's in this recent series, their starting pitchers, Mitch Bratt, who they acquired from the Merrill Kelly deal last year, Cole Drake, who made his MLB debut, who they acquired from the Merrill Kelly deal, and then Merrill Kelly started the last game. So it was a really funny turn for the Arizona Diamondbacks rotation versus the A's.
Cole Drake had like an 8 ERA in AAA or something like that.
Yeah, that's his stuff's good. Like I'm someone like I buy. I would buy stock. Like if
you're saying that was just PCL related, or he's had some bad starts, or
what?
The
velo is a little down. I think they're trying to figure out something, whether it was mechanics or what not. But his stuff, like he's got 4 pitches that play, good breaking ball, changeup cut, like lefty, which is always fun. I think he can be a good major league pitcher. I don't know. Ace is probably a little bit crazy, but I think he could be a solid one. But yeah, Trev, the rotation, Brandon Pfaadt, I think that's going to be the biggest guy to watch since being called back up. He's been very, very good for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think he's got like a 2 ERA in the last 4 starts. Zach Gallen goes on the IL. He's been struggling all year. Erod has turned the clocks back and is pitching like he's on the Red Sox. He's been fantastic. I don't know if they make a move at the deadline to address the rotation. I don't know what they would do. Obviously, pitching cost a premium at the deadline. You just got to hope, I think, one of these guys bounces back. Erod stays the way he's been pitching. Soroka, who's been on the IL, who had been good prior to his injury. He should be back hopefully in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a dogfight for the rest of the season to see if they make the postseason.
Brandon Pfaadt, 21 innings pitched in his last 4 starts. As you mentioned, since being kind of recalled there, only 5 earned runs.
Yeah.
Okay. They need that. That's great for the D-backs. So, okay. Right now, as you mentioned, they are sitting in the last wild card spot, a half game over the Cardinals, a half game over Pittsburgh, and their upcoming schedule is interesting because they're playing some teams, right around them in the standings. So before we get to the trade deadline, we have a makeup game in St. Louis, so a team directly right behind them, and then they go on and they play the Nationals, they play Pittsburgh, and they play Cleveland. That's all right before the break. So you're talking a 10 game. Is that 10 games in a row? No, there's one off there. There's an off day on the 30th of July. That's a lot of pitching to cover on the road.
And Trev, if I may, the Cardinals game's a makeup game. There is some drama there between the Cardinals and D-backs about trying to push the game up. It didn't happen. So this game, there should be actually another off day right here, but that makeup game. So it's interesting.
Okay, well, we'll see where they're at after. That's kind of a tough little schedule there, depending on how this pitching lines up, especially for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
See how that lines up, but okay. I'm rooting for the Snakes. I always am, man. And
thanks, Coach. The Nationals, Dude, the Nationals, they remind me of like the 24 Diamondbacks. They can hit and they just cannot pitch.
They cannot pitch.
And their lineup, they just score runs. It's amazing. It's really they give me such D-backs 2024 vibes. So that's going to be a dog fight to watch.
All right, that's enough snakes, though. Let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about Shopify. You know, we just went to the All-Star game. I call games, so I'm at a bunch of different stadiums. Chris is always down at either Angel Stadium or Dodger Stadium. And the one thing that we see a lot, actually I'm wearing some right now, little John Boy Media merch throughout all these different stadiums. We really love our community. We appreciate you guys supporting us. Even yesterday at golf, one of the caddies at the club said, "Hey, man, I was listening to baseball today on the way in here." So shout out to that guy. He was cool. But yes, we love seeing our merch out there. And that reach, the reason we're able to do that is because of Shopify's fulfillment infrastructure. Our product gets into the fans' hands no matter where they are. And that's what Shopify does. That's what they do for us at work. When we design a product around a baseball moment, Shopify connects us directly to our manufacturers so orders flow out on time and land with fans wherever they're at. No bottlenecks, no delays. And Shop Pay removes the friction at checkout so the fan finds the product who finds the product actually follows through with the purchase. That combination of reach and conversion is what makes the whole thing work. So start your free trial at shopify.com/today. Thanks, Shopify. All right, let's move on. Dalt. And it's time for Most Valuable Moment powered by Amazon. Just like Amazon helps you find the most value for every dollar during back-to-school season, let's break down the most valuable moment from this week and the Atlanta Braves and what made them stand out. They end up taking 2 out of 3 from the Padres. Padres bullpen implodes, and the big swing came from our guy, affectionately known as Jimmy Baseball.
Lefty. Jarvis. It's going to stay fair. He had a triple last night. He might have another. No, but it's going to be an RBI double to put Atlanta on top in the 8th.
There he is. I love names, by the way. So this guy came up on our radar on Talking Baseball. I was like, Jim Jarvis, what a name. And that's kind of how it starts with us. When Jake and I talk about ball, we're like, I like this guy's name. Oh, let me look at how he looks. Oh, I like this guy's hair. Okay, let's see how he plays. Here he is now, short king, so you know we love him, 5'9", 190 on the year, Dalt. This guy's hitting 308, 345, 481 for the 826. Playing a good shortstop. Not a huge prospect for the Atlanta Braves, but hit well in AAA. Gets the call. Has been starting pretty much every day. He's even hit against some lefties as well. Is this the Braves' answer at shortstop for the rest of the season?
I think so, especially right now. You got to play the hot hand. Like, first off, that swing. Oof, I love a good lefty swing. And I don't know if it's just like also the look, the long hair, the long lefty swing. Like down the line, fantastic from Jim Jarvis. But anywho, yeah, I think right now, especially Jim Jarvis has been balling out. So I think it's like a little bit over 50 plate appearances so far this season. The Braves are finally getting production out of their shortstop position, a position since Dansby Swanson has left that the Braves have been trying to figure out since the start of the 2023 season, Trev, when Dansby left for the Cubs in that offseason when they signed that deal in Chicago. The Braves shortstop ranks, my goodness, they're last in F4. They're last in OPS. They're 29th in weighted runs created. They're 29th in stolen bases. They're 29th in RBIs. So we're not running well. We're not driving guys in. Everything's just not going right at the shortstop position. Jim Jarvis could be the guy. We're seeing flashes early on so far. I think he could be the answer. Trev, I do want to play a little game for you.
Okay.
Jim Jarvis called up by the Braves. Do you know how the Braves got Jim Jarvis? Did you see on Baseball Reference or no?
As I was researching for the show, I did see Tigers 11th round draft pick gets traded for
Rafael Montero at the deadline last year. A guy, a reliever who had a 5.5 ERA last year with the Braves. Obviously, he had success prior to that, so more of a name value than anything else. You think he could bounce back, but this is why the deadline's interesting because, Rafael Montero gets traded. Jim Jarvis, let's be honest, I feel like he wasn't on a lot of people's radar, and now he's performing for the Atlanta Braves in 2026, a team that's currently leading the National League East. So this is what makes baseball so great and so much fun, because now Jim Jarvis is being a big contributor to a team that's been dealing with injuries and has been one of the better offenses in baseball.
Did you say contributor? I like that. Okay.
Did I say it wrong? I probably did.
Yeah, contributor. We're fine. Yeah. We don't care. Tomato. I'll tell you why this guy got traded for a reliever with a 5 ERA last year. His numbers in AAA, or it's within 3 teams, but really mainly, at AA last year before he gets traded over. 671 OPS as a 24-year-old in AA.
Right.
So it wasn't really necessarily working out for Jim in the minor leagues. You got to kill the minor leagues. That's what you got to do. You want to get product, especially if you're not a high draft pick, you got to kill the minor leagues. Yeah. I got moved along as a minor leaguer because I was a first rounder. So I got way more chances to fail than most people did. There's no doubt about that. I did not perform really in the lower levels of the minor league, but I kept getting pushed because they had money invested in me. You got to kill the minor leagues. Jim was not doing that. Old Jimmy Baseball. But then he gets into Gwinnett this year, 76 games and 868 OPS. Now he's part of the Braves, starting 9 essentially. Ha-Seong Kim, when they signed him, I said, this is a great sign for the Braves. Now, obviously it hasn't worked out that way. He hasn't been healthy at all. And even when he has been healthy, it hasn't been great. So I do think Jimmy Baseball has a chance to run this thing the rest of the way. You want, as a shortstop, you just want the ball hit to him. And I think right now we're seeing guys want the ball hit to him. We're seeing, big plays, routine plays. He's making kind of them all. Do you have that video of him stretching out earlier in the season? I think this is when we first got introduced to old Jim Jarvis. Chris Sale against the Dodgers, Kyle Tucker. Look at him go get it. Full extension Superman right there. And that's when Jake and I were like, who's Jim Jarvis? Okay, love this guy. Jimmy Baseball looks like he's here to stay. But let's just say the Braves don't think the way we think. Maybe the Braves don't have as big as baseball minds as we do.
Right.
A lot of people know ball like we do, Dalt. Is there another shortstop target out there that you think would look good in the Braves uniform?
Doing my quick scan, I think, shortstop is actually a position where we're going to hear a lot of names thrown out this deadline. I think the dream scenario for the Braves, and I don't know if they do this, it depends over the next week, Jeremy Pena. If Houston decides they want to sell, I do not know if they're going to.
They just swept, right?
They did. That's why they're kind of back in it. But again, if they get swept this weekend, it's a whole different story. He doesn't have much control left. I believe it's one more year after the 2026 season. Obviously, World Series MVP, has produced, dealt with an injury earlier this season. He offensively, defensively, very good shortstop. And for a spot where the Braves have struggled over the last 3 or 4 seasons, it would be a great fit if a move like that can happen.
This has been floated around for a little bit, and I don't think this happens. He's got just too many years of control left. But there is a new regime out there in Anaheim.
Oh, no. Swilly's going to get mad at you.
I know. She gets mad at me all the time anyway. What am I supposed to do? Zach Neto would be interesting. You'd have to give up a lot to get this guy. And I don't know if the Braves have that. What is the Braves system looking like right now? In my mind, top of my head, I don't think it's great.
Right. Well, we've never been a prospect prod. Let's be honest.
It's absolutely true. I could care less until you come show it at the big league level. My goodness. He'd be fantastic. I don't think that's going to happen. Angels fans, relax. I'm just throwing out. I'm just relaying what I've been seeing on the internet. Okay, Zach Neto's name has been floated around there. There was some Willy Adames talk, but again, he's kind of owed a lot of money there, so the Giants would have to eat it, and maybe they would. Would that be a contract the Braves would be willing to take on? Say if it got put down to 15 a year or something like that. I think he kind of fits the mold of the team. He's got some pop, obviously, which you can always welcome that, especially at the shortstop position. If I'm them, I think I stick with Jarvis in the house. Try to go get some help in other areas. You got a guy producing for you right now. At least give him maybe start or not start. Let's continue to have talks, and let's see what he does up into the trade deadline. Go Jimmy Baseball, go! Great nickname, by the way.
Do you think JJ? I love the nickname JJ. Do you think that plays, or is that no because JJ Weatherholt's been crushing it for St. Louis?
Yeah, Jimmy Baseball. Just stick with that.
Jimmy Baseball. Okay.
JB is great. Because JJ, I think of JJ Hardy. You think of JJ Weatherholt. That's showing our age, both of us, a little bit. There. Yeah.
That's fair. Atlanta, if they make a move, I think it might be for the rotation. They need pitching help. We've talked about that in Talking Baseball, though.
All right, let's move on. Thanks to our partners at Amazon. Shop back to school at Amazon and spend less on your kids. Agreed. I agree with that, Amazon. Spend way too much money on my kids. Need to spend more money on old numero uno right here. Let's end the show like we always do with some kind of quick hitters, lighter subjects. This one, like, kind of not that light, but we got on Caleb Ferguson for what he said to Bill Miller, called him a fat MFer, essentially. Not essentially, he did. That's exactly what he called him. And we got on here, and I think what I said was, hey, clean it up, dude. Like, you don't need to do that. And to Caleb's credit, if we're going to talk about him when he does something bad, we should talk about it when he does something good. He talked to reporters. This is what he had to say.
Don't feel great about it, for sure. Definitely very uncharacteristic for myself. As long as I've been in this game, I don't know if you'll find a clip of me going in a umpire like that. So definitely going to have to wear that one on the chest and going to seek Bill out or try to at some point, and definitely make it right with him because very unprofessional on my part.
Well said.
All right? Like,
yeah.
People, this is what you got to do. Face the music. You mess up. We all mess up.
Everyone messes up.
Everyone messes up. Me less than most people,
Obviously.
But when I do mess up, I want to get on the sticks, and I want to tell people I screwed that one up. We talk a lot of ball here. We're going to get things wrong. I want to admit as best I can. Caleb Ferguson, great job. The moment got away from you a little bit. You were upset. Emotions were running hot. It's a Major League Baseball game. You're trying to provide for your family. Totally get it. You said something like you said is uncharacteristic of yourself. A lot of people thought it was off-putting, and you came out and admitted it. So I'm good job, Caleb Ferguson.
Absolutely. Ditto. If you're going to do something into the glove, don't direct it at anybody. If you got to yell, maybe not say those words either, obviously, but like just right into the glove. It's a learning experience. Shout out Caleb for, admitting that and trying to make right.
Good job. All right. Last thing before we get out of here. This is more like prayers or like good vibes or send to our guy Kuroto Grauer out in Sacramento. If you don't remember, he fouled the ball off right into the testes and had a ruptured testicle, and he underwent surgery to repair it. And I don't know if you got the video up or not. I don't think we need to show it. I just wanted to send some love because if you got a pair, you can imagine how that would feel like. And even if you don't have a pair, you're a woman out there listening, you could probably imagine how that felt. Okay. So shout out to our guy. Hopefully you're on the mend and feeling better soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Not fun. As versus my Snakes when he did it, when he hit that foul ball. Stayed in first and hit a single too, which
he did.
That's one of the most impressive things. Yeah, that's one of the most impressive things.
I asked Jimmy Norp this yesterday. When you played ball, were you a cup guy or not?
No, I played outfield. No, absolutely not.
That's crazy.
Why? What was I going to – I mean, that's a crazy – how many times have we seen that happen? Like
I guess outfielders –
I played center. What was I
guess the outfielders have at least some sort of version where they can tell me, and I'd believe it, that it's not pertinent, but I just always wore it, man. I felt like it was just like a part of the uniform. I felt naked without it.
Okay. To be fair, third base. Like, there's a high chance, you're going to get 100 off the bat, if not higher, and got to protect yourself.
I don't think I ever did.
No?
I don't think I ever got one. These hands right here. Best cup you can buy is your hands, but still have one on. Teddy fights me on it all the time. He won't wear one. I'm like, dude. He says it looks funny. I'm like, you know what? You'd rather look funny than have a ruptured testy, bro. Right?
Amen.
Okay. All right. Well, that's going to do it. We appreciate everyone coming along for the ride. Dalt's going to be back here tomorrow to finish off our week without Chris Rose. We're going to probably forecast some more of the the upcoming series that are going to be over the weekend. There's some good ones. Mariners, Texas. I think it's Phillies, Yankees.
Yep.
See if my Twins can kind of get back on track. Nobody cares, Trev. It's fine.
We do.
Thank you, Dalton. Yeah. For super producer Dan Rourke, for my excellent ball-knowing friend Dalton Feely, I'm your host, Trevor Plouffe, saying we'll see you next time on Baseball Today.